What's up, guys? Nolay goes hard. Choke on my name. Hi, everyone. This is our first episode of Let's Go Live in 2021. I missed you guys. How you doing? We've got Carl here, Ahmad, Eddie, Ace Singh is with us. What's going on, guys? And I'm super excited because guess who our guest is tonight? You already know. Nolay is going to be here. She is a UK grime star. She's a rapper. She is an actress. We saw her on the first season of Top Boy. And I've known Nolay for about 10 years. I actually went over to the UK about 10 years ago to do a documentary on grime music. Nolay was one of the artists who I interviewed. And when we saw her in the booth spitting that fire, our jaws were on the ground, and she's still killing it to this day. She has a new EP out called Callous. We're going to be chatting to her about that, about her beef with Trillary Banks. That's going to be interesting. Let's see if we can find Nolay right now. So bear with me. Yep, here she is. Let's see if we can get her on. In the meantime, how are you guys doing? Oriano? By the way, my cats are going wild right now. If you hear any banging, crashing, here she is. Nolay, hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I can't hear you very well, I don't think.
Oh, I don't. Do you know what? I'm in the middle of nowhere, like the countryside. So.
Are you? Whereabouts?
Hear me now in Buckinghamshire.
I can hear you now. I can hear you now, and you look amazing. What are you doing in Buckinghamshire?
I'm just down here visiting my grandma.
Okay.
She wanted to live somewhere a bit more peacefully, so yeah, I'm just down here doing that.
Especially with everything that's going on, I'm sure London's just nuts right now.
It is, but do you know what? It's nuts in Buckinghamshire as well.
Is it?
But yeah, it's quite. I mean, the queues are really long outside the shopping, like outside Tesco's.
Yeah.
They're making people like obviously you have to wear your mask to go into all the shops, otherwise you don't. Get so it's pretty bad here too.
So are you guys still quarantining out there? Because I know quarantine, the pandemic has not stopped you. You have been putting out consistently fire music over the past few months, culminating with this EP. So tell me how you've been managing to do all of that despite the pandemic.
I've kind of like, I don't know what it is, but I've found it, this is going to sound really weird, but I've actually found it more easier.
Really? Why? How?
I just feel like when we had the first lockdown, I used that time to like really just like look at myself as a person, look at myself as an artist, and just really reflect and think about, okay, you've got the talent's there.
Yeah.
Missing. So what is it? Is it your work ethic? You know, is it your consistency? Is it your team? Is it your management? What is it basically? So I use that time to basically get everything in perspective and flush out all the nonsense and bring in basically like new team, writing, just going harder, getting myself in my mind in check. You know, I started meditating. I started really health journey and just everything basically, like just to make myself a better person. I feel like when you're a better person, it kind of it's going to come out in what you do in everyday life anyway. You know, if you look after your state of mind and you look after yourself and you think about seriously like who are the people that are around you as well. You know, I had to sort out my circle, make sure I've got the right kind of people around me and positive people, and literally I had a whole big clear out during
wow.
And yeah, it really, you know, it was like for me this whole pandemic, it has been kind of like the gift and the curse for me because it's given me time to think about what's really important, but obviously at the same time it's not a nice thing to see like what's going on around us, happening to people dying and just people in general suffering, you know, because of what's happening. But so it's been like the gift and the curse for me.
Yeah, but you've made the most out of the situation. That's awesome. I have to ask you, because when I first interviewed you about 10 years ago for BET, did we come to Brixton? Were you in Brixton, your studio? Is that where it was?
Oh, I think you came to White City.
Oh, was it White City?
London. I think you came to. I mean, I know Logan was there, so I can't remember.
Logan Farmer was there. Was he? Yeah, he was there with us. Logan, I haven't seen him in years.
Me and Logan had that kind of. I wouldn't say it was an argument, but that debate because about the P-Number one kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think he said something like that started with the Jungle Boys, and I was like, no, it started from like reggae and that when they used to be like on one, and then they never used to pronounce it properly, so it kind of turned into P-Number one kind of thing. But I remember.
Logan's easy to argue with. I've had a lot of debates with him. But you were a little girl, like in the booth, because I just found the old video of you in there. You were a little girl and you were spitting that fire. When did you first realize that you had that kind of talent?
Wait, let me think. I want to take you as far back as I can possibly remember.
Yeah.
English literature was like my favorite lesson.
Really?
I used to bunk a lot. I was terrible in regards to school.
Yeah.
Me, if you're listening to this, but I used to bunk off school a lot. I just didn't want to be there. I couldn't work out why, but I would always make sure that I went to my English lit.
Yeah.
All the time, like people probably expect me to make sure that I go to my music lesson or my drama lesson, but literally English lit was my favorite. And I just kind of began to appreciate I used to write poetry, and I just loved the way, like in my English lesson, I could put words together. And I used to get into loads of debates in class as well, because I always used to dismiss poetry that never rhymes, because you've got some poetry that doesn't rhyme. And
yeah.
That's poetry because it don't rhyme kind of thing. And then I was really into my poetry, and then one day I was on the bus going home, and there were some older boys at the back of the bus, and I remember they was playing, I think it was Mobb Deep, and they was like, no, a Mobb Deep instrumental, and they was rapping.
Love Mobb Deep.
Like catching my attention and like kind of looking to the back of the bus, like, and listening and feeling like this is really similar to poetry, like it's what I write. And then I remember listening to them and thinking, I can do that. I even feel like I could do it better, kind of thing. I just began to like buy like rap vinyls and stuff like that, like Biggie Smalls. He's big inspirations. A lot of heavily influenced by a lot of East Coast rap.
Like
a lot of New York East Coast rap. I'd have to say like that is probably what I grew up on predominantly in regards to like music. But yeah, I just started to take it like seriously from then, to be quite honest. And I went to a few open mics. I remember this is so cringy, I used to call Vibes, right?
Yeah.
And, I don't know why, but I used to call myself Vibes.
And that was your original name, Vibes?
Yeah, my original MC name, Vibes. And I was in a feeling because I was underage, but I always used to lie about my age. There was a lot less strict to them. Yeah. So I used to lie about my age so that I could get into these clubs and so that I could see like the MCs and like what was going on at the decks and stuff like that. Yeah. And at the time I was in, I think it was a club called Granaries.
Okay. That sounds familiar.
Yeah, in Croydon.
Yeah.
It was Granaries. I was inside there. And this guy was on the mic MCing, and I turned around and I said to my friend, "Oh, I'm better than him," kind of thing. The guy standing behind me that basically DJs and was up next, so he was like, "Yeah, you're better than him. Yeah, go out there and prove it," kind of thing. And then I was like, "Oh." I went up there, started MCing, and then I just kind of built up confidence from then because of the reception I got from everyone, and then I just started going to a lot of open mic stuff, and then eventually ended up getting into a group which was called Unorthodox, and then we dropped a video, and then from then it just kind of was like a snowball effect. I just got a lot of love from it, and I just kept it moving from that, really.
Because I put on my Instagram stories that you are one of the best MCs I've ever experienced, and that you really are. You're just so ridiculously talented. It's like, it's not even fair for anyone else. But what's interesting is Mobb Deep is one of the groups that inspired you, and you ended up touring with Mobb Deep, didn't you? They're one of my favorite hip hop groups ever.
I would have loved to tour with them. I didn't tour with them. I actually opened up at the Forum.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in the group Unorthodox. We opened up for Mobb Deep at the Forum, basically, which was amazing. The crowd was set. The crowd was so lovely. Like, I remember feeling so special because some guy threw a rose on the stage.
Oh. At least he didn't throw his underwear up there.
Time, sorry?
At least he didn't throw his underwear up there.
Yeah, at least. But yeah, like we just opened up for Mobb Deep, and then I didn't actually get to meet them.
Okay.
It was kind of like bummer because they're like one of my faves, basically. As I said, the first thing that made me ever want to rap was hearing them guys at the back of the bus when I was like a kid, like basically rapping to one of the Mobb Deep instrumentals. But I mean, years and years later, I got a DM from Havoc.
Wow, did you?
He DM'd me and he quoted one of my lyrics to me, and I was just like, I was blown away. And I went to his page. You know, when you have to, I went and searched for the blue tick first because I was like, you know, some people it up, or they might put like an extra letter in there, you might miss it or whatever, and think, yeah. And then I ran to his page and just to search, make sure it was the legit Havoc, and it was. And he had basically quoted one of my lyrics from my track Marching, and that was really, really big for me. That really, really meant a lot to me.
Wow, it's like it's all coming full circle at that point.
I feel like it's what I put out in the universe. Like,
yeah,
I wasn't really a believer of that stuff before, but when that happened, it kind of made, because I always used to think like, yeah, like R.I.P., you know, I didn't get to meet like Prodigy, which is a big shame to me because that is something that I would have loved to have worked with him because he's one of my favorites. But I did put out in the universe a lot, like I would love, basically, there's certain rappers that I would love for them to hear my raps and like my style and stuff because they've inspired me so much. Yeah. So that DM from Havoc, that was, that meant a lot to me.
That's amazing. That's so awesome. All right, so would you say you're more sort of on the grime or more on the hip hop side nowadays? Because I first met you as a rising grime star, but I feel like your new EP is more on the hip hop side of things, right? Is that what you're saying?
Say that I have always been a rapper, and let me explain to you why I say this.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff that I basically came up on and the way I learnt to write was listening to a lot of East Coast rap.
Yeah.
Oh, Biggie, Styles P, you know, the list just goes on and on and on. So I was heavily influenced by, you know, like New York hip hop. But the only thing that was really popping, don't get me wrong, we had hip hop over here. But the only thing that was kind of like right in your face when I was at the clubs and I wanted to jump on mic was grime.
Okay,
you know,
okay.
I see myself as a rapper that can do grime, if that makes sense. So I was just rapping over grime because if you think about it, some grime was a lot more like repeating words, saying or shouting, or you know, like I don't know, for example, like oh, crack your skull, like
yeah.
Mine, if you look back at what I did and you look back at like Unorthodox and that, it was very like lyrical. The stuff is, it's lyrical. So I would say that I've always been a rapper, but I could always like spit on grime. So that's what I did because that was the thing that was there at the moment. You know, that was popping, and that is kind of like the UK culture. You know, like America, they have obviously hip hop. That's their thing. Like it's more than just like lyrics and rap and bars. It was the scratching of the vinyls, you know, the whole culture and lifestyle out there in the Bronx and everything else, the whole hip hop thing. Whereas in London, we had grime.
Yeah.
So, but
very much a UK sound.
Now I'm really going with what I want to do, which is rap.
Yeah.
Like the style of the beats and everything is more rap. I'm not saying that you'll never hear me on grime again, you know, or any other kind of vibe other than rap, but because I do like to experiment as well.
Yeah.
But rap is kind of like, that's my thing. That's what I'm happy doing.
What do you think of the UK drill movement right now? Because there's a lot of attention around that.
I like it very much. I like that UK have something again, which is their own.
Yeah.
And I have like, I've dropped a couple drill tunes and I don't talk about being a driller on the songs, but do you know what I mean? Like, I like beats. I have a lot of up and coming stuff that is like drill, you know? So yeah, I like sound.
Can't wait to hear that.
Some
All
of
right,
it,
Nolay.
some of it can be a bit. There's one sound that happens in drill. It's like the woo, woo, woo kind of noise that they put in drill. That's the only thing I don't like.
Oh, you don't like that? I love that.
Kind of specific sound. I can't explain. Literally in a lot of drill tunes. That's the only wish that they'd kind of lose, like stop using that sound kind of thing. But
it's been overdone.
I like the fact that like it crossed over, do you know what I mean, into the US market, because obviously I know like US, they had something called drill, but it didn't, it was like obviously like the Chicago drill and that, but it wasn't, you know, the UK drill sound which you hear like Fivio on, and which you hear Pop Smoke and that on. Obviously Pop Smoke was working with UK producers for that particular drill sound. So yeah, I'm really proud of the UK for that.
Yeah, because that's where it gets confusing, because the Chicago drill is different. It's a very different sound to that UK drill. But yeah, you're right. What you're hearing from Pop Smoke and those guys in the Brooklyn drill, the New York drill, is very much sort of inspired from the UK sound.
100%. And you know, it's such a shame with Pop Smoke, God rest his soul, because he got it and he understood it. And what I liked about Pop was when he had his interviews and stuff, he would always pay homage, and he would always be like, talk about the sound and the UK drill sound, and, you know, where he first heard the sound and everything else. And I really, really respect that. I think that it's good to give credit where it's due and to give props where it's due.
Absolutely. Yeah. Such a great talent gone too soon, for sure. So Nolay, I've got to ask you, are you ready for your 10 in 10 challenge? Your 10 random and revealing questions for the audience to really get to know you better.
Okay.
You ready? All right. So let's go with question number 1. Okay, this is an easy one, I think. Complete the sentence, I give the best blank. Your eyes when I said that.
I give the best healing.
Healing?
Yeah.
Do you? Explain.
I like to heal broken people. I like to help people. I'm quite a people's person. I hate to see other people like hurt or suffering. So yeah, I give the best healing.
So you give them good advice and steer them in the right direction.
Love, nurturing, you know. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good answer. And an original one as well, like that. Okay. All right, so question number 2. So you starred in Top Boy season 1, which was on Channel 4. If you had to quarantine for 3 months with one of the characters from Top Boy, right, 3 months, you're stuck inside, 4 walls together that whole time, the character, not the actor, who would it be and why?
Oh my gosh.
Sully.
Probably Sully.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I find him quite mysterious, and I think that he's a brilliant lyricist as well, outside of his acting. And I feel like I could actually like learn quite a lot from him in regards to like the industry and stuff like that. I feel like I'd have something to talk about with him. So yeah.
And that's Kano, of course, who was in that original story. I was telling everyone about the grimiest for BET. Kano was sort of our main character that was leading us through the grime scene. And of course we got that interview with you. So Kano would be the one. All right, yeah, he's awesome. And which character would you least want to quarantine with from Top Boy?
Oh my God.
You know I had to ask. Put you on the spot.
Now let me think about the characters. Oh.
Even if it's one of the newer ones. Have you been following the series since?
Yeah, right, I have. I would say maybe, and this is probably not going to make sense, but maybe the guy that was my baby father in the series.
Tell us why.
I don't know. It's just maybe it's what the name that I can remember off the top of my head. But it seems quite quiet, and I don't.
It'd be boring.
I feel a little bit, and I'm not sure. But are we going off the character in the program?
Yeah, we're going off the character in the program, just so we don't put you on the spot too much.
It's just annoying, like it's just annoying. Like, obviously, the way he set Sully and Duchesne up, and just the whole dead arm, like his.
Wait, what was the dead arm? I can't remember that.
I think he had a stroke, which is not funny. But I'm just like, just the dead arm, and he's just annoying. And I find him quite, his character, not him. His character is just a bit like, it's like, just step up a little bit. Do you see what I'm saying? I just feel like if he wanted something, and if he really wanted to be a top boy, he could have been a top boy. Do you know what I'm saying? But he kind of like just took the scraps that were given to him and thrown to him, kind of thing. And then as the season gone, he wanted to turn like all bad mind. But I feel like he put himself in that position. He didn't really strive hard enough to like be the guy that he wanted to be in the end. So probably him, because I don't like people that feel too sorry for themselves.
Especially as you're someone who goes for whatever you want, no matter what. You sort of need a man that's going to do the same thing, I suspect.
Sometimes I do have reservations before I go for things. I know like a lot of people consider me quite confident, someone that is like quite like out there and blunt and stuff, which I am. But I do think before I go for things, if that makes sense. And then if I want something, then I go for it. Why not?
Okay. Exactly. How did you feel about Drake sort of falling in love with the series and then taking it to Netflix? That was a big deal when that news came out.
I think it was a good thing, because as far as I remember, I know that Channel 4, they kind of like just
cancelled it, right?
Up on it, which was a real shame, and I'm sure like a lot of people were upset about that. So I think it's a really good thing that he's fallen in love with the UK in general, if you think about it, like not just just the sounds and the music and some of the rappers here. So I think it's a great thing.
It's a great thing.
I'd like some more American artists kind of like working together as well with the UK and having like ventures and business ventures and stuff. I think it's a good look.
Who, if you could select anyone to do that, who would it be?
If Nipsey was still alive, I would have loved to do Nipsey, because watching the way he used to speak about ownership and being an entrepreneur and stuff like that. So it probably would have been Nipsey, but outside of Nipsey, I'd say Jay-Z.
Okay. We love Jay-Z. He's the king of it all.
Yeah.
All right, so question number 3. So if a genie granted you 3 wishes right now, what would those wishes be? Let's just say I'm the genie.
3 wishes.
3 wishes.
Oh my gosh. I would say that my first wish would probably be to bring my father back.
When did you lose your dad?
It was quite some time ago, over 10 years ago, but I would have just really loved that, because my father always believed in what I was doing, even when everybody else was doubting it. And I just feel like now he would be so excited to like see what's going on. So that would probably be my first wish. My second wish would be, to change everyone that's around me, like their lives for the better. So I don't know, whether it be like become really wealthy off the back of my music or whatever else, like just to be able to put everyone in a position. And I don't mean in a position where I don't know, like I would just buy them things kind of thing. I mean a position where I could help them start up businesses and we could really grow something major, like everybody running businesses, like just a powerhouse of like my family and my friends. And my last wish would probably be for this COVID crap to be over. For this COVID nonsense to be over. So I think that would be my 3 wishes.
Yeah, that good answers. You obviously have a real entrepreneurial mindset, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. Okay, so question number 4. So each musical project that you put out, I feel like you give us a different side of yourself. So there was a project you put out a few years ago where you showed a very vulnerable side of yourself, and you talked about domestic violence, etc., issues within relationships. With this one, and is it callous? Is that how you pronounce it? Am I saying it right? Or car? How do you say? Collapse, okay. And I bet a lot of people had that question. So collapse, that's how you pronounce it, which basically means finished, like you're done, it's over, right?
Kind of like Arabic, kind of means run out kind of thing in Arabic, but like in Arabic slang, yeah, like enough, like finished, done.
Got it. Well, I'm loving the EP. It's your 6th studio EP, I believe. What side of yourself, what side of Nolay would you say you're putting forth on this one?
You know what? When I make music, I give it thought, but I don't give it too much thought, if that makes sense. So I don't, sometimes, like, with the project that I did, This Woman, that was a bit more orchestrated, as in I wanted women to feel a bit like, I wanted them to understand their power and to like live within like their femininity, and just to understand how they are. But with Kala, I kind of just went into it with the frame of mind of, I'm just going to do me. Sometimes I don't really go into show and be like, this is the point, is kind of like what I'm trying to put across right now, because I feel like when you do that too much, your music becomes quite stiff, if that makes sense, and like, I would say that this is quite unfiltered, as you can hear by tunes like Sex, which and I think maybe Sex was probably the only song on there where I kind of like orchestrated it, as in doing it, like, because obviously I had heard WAP at the time.
Yeah,
and
okay.
Yeah, and I had seen the backlash that Cardi and Meg were getting, and it kind of really peed me off, because I just felt like, okay, you might not like what they're talking about and what they're saying, but it's like, I find sometimes when you're on the internet, people are always trying to tell people what to do, you know, and particularly with artists and musicians as well. Like, people are always trying to tell us how we should live, how we should comment, you know, how we should think, what kind of music we should put out, you know, you're influencing this and you're influencing that. And I just think, all right, fair enough. But at the same time, you need to have them standards for males as well, you know. If you have that kind of feeling where you're like, okay, you know, them putting out songs, the women putting out songs talking about sex is influencing young girls to be hoes or whatever you would call it. All right, fair enough. If that's how you feel, that's fine. But then you have to look at, okay, rappers talking about shooting people up and selling drugs, or, you know, you've had lyrics from someone like Rick Ross talking about, you know, I put something in her drink, she ain't even know it. I took her home.
UNFAO or something like, no, that's a group.
Eminem rapping about rape and stuff, and all right, regardless, it might be a joke to them, but it's like, have the same energy. I feel like with women, it's very much like they fly down on you so hard, like, as a woman, when you talk about certain things, but they don't always have that same energy for the male rappers. So when they made that song WAP, I felt like it was kind of like a finger up to everybody, and I feel like that's kind of like what Sex is kind of like, to piss you off more kind of thing, if that makes sense. Like, okay, listen to this is how I feel, and this is what I'm putting out there, and regardless, if you don't like it, you're just gonna have to deal with it, because it's just like one big finger up, really.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm going to ask you about Sex in the next question as well, so we'll get more into that. But you had stepped away from the music scene for a while, and you were thinking about completely giving up and just focusing on being an actor. Does my voice sound weird, by the way? I'm hearing like some weird feedback. Hopefully you can hear me clearly. But you were going to focus on just acting, and then some things happened and you decided to come back out, and I know part of it was new management. So talk to us about why you wanted to step away in the first place, and then why was now the right time to make your return.
I just feel like in the UK, like, I'm not talking about so much like the fans, but I feel like the industry, they're very unappreciative of like real lyricists.
Yeah.
I feel like the stuff that they push is quite watered down. It's quite, it's very safe. They play it very safe here. And I had just got to the point, I had worked with a few people that had just kept like wasting my time, promising me this, promising me that, and just literally I just got to a point where it was like, do you know what, this is just a waste of time. And my music, I feel like it's not being appreciated, and I think maybe I was confused at that time as well, because I think when you work with people that you have faith in, be it managers or teams or whatever, like you work with people, you have faith in them, and then, you know, they keep letting you down. It didn't happen once or twice, it kept happening. And I just got to the point where I just felt like maybe this is what I'm meant to be doing. It felt good. So yeah, and then when I met my manager, who I love, because he has actually like really done so much for me. Like, he's really got me in like a new space, and like mentally as well.
Yeah.
And I kind of started to feel like with my music, it was becoming like a chore. I was doing it because I can do it, if that makes sense, rather than enjoying it. When I first met my manager, he said to me, "What have you been doing with yourself and that?" And I was like, "Not much." I said, I'm into acting now. You know, I've got a few roles, and I've got a lot of stuff coming up, and I'm just gonna be acting, basically. Like, and the look that he gave me when I said that, like, his face literally was like, "What are you talking about?" kind of thing. Like, no, like, you can't do that. And I think for the first time in ages, I saw like a belief in someone's face, where it was like, he was so shocked that I had said that, like, taken back by it. And then, like, we just got talking, like, about my career and like where I want to be. He got me down the office. I had to write like a list of like kind of like who I am, kind of thing. Who is Nolay? Like, who would you say Nolay is? And he's very particular.
Yeah.
And at the time, I wasn't as particular, so it would be a bit annoying. Yeah. But I asked him for it, because I realized that everything that he was doing has kind of brought me to this moment. So like, I just wrote down basically like who I feel like Nolay is. And then one thing that he said to me, this is when I knew he was the one to manage me. And he was that guy when he said to me, "I want you to be yourself." And I had another setup. Every other setup I was in, they was trying to market me like Cardi, or market me like Nicki, or market me like the City Girls, or like showing me other female rappers' music and being like, "Yeah, like, you're sick and you're hard and that, but, you know, maybe you should do a bit something like this or something like that." Whereas he said, "We're going to do Nolay." Like, we're going to do Nolay, and we're going to capitalize, and we're going to basically grow Nolay. We're not going to try to be this person or that person. We're going to do Nolay. And I think everything that you're seeing now, from the freestyles right at the end of 2020 into like this new year with the EP and everything, that is basically like me being me, like, and loving what I'm doing now, because finally I love it, because I feel like I have people around me trying to sway me, or, you know, like hearing my stuff and being like, you know, this is sick, but it's a bit hard, and maybe you should water it down a bit, and blah blah blah. Now I can finally, like, I'm living in my kind of truth, and as Nolay. And it's not even in regards to image. I mean, like, right now my image is just like something that I've wanted to fix up and sort out for, because I've grown as a woman. But even as image, he has never like tried to, you know, force me into dress in a certain way or be in a certain way. And then it kind of makes you grow naturally. It's almost like you want to work even harder with your team and your manager, because they're so accepting of you and they believe in you so much. So that kind of put me in a whole new headspace. And I went back into the headspace of feeling really happy and really creative and so ready for it. And I think, I mean, from there, you can probably see it shows like the consistency is a lot different to what it is. Like, I'm just licking out tunes left, right, and centre, because I'm happy with what I'm doing now.
And you seem to be enjoying yourself in the videos as well. Like, you're doing some really cute and fun stuff in the videos. Like, you'll go hard and then you'll have like this really cute moment where I think your personality, the fun side, like really shows through. And just the colors in the hair and all of that kind of stuff. Like, I'm absolutely loving it, and it does feel really authentic. And what a lot of people don't realize is, even as talent, a big part of it is your team, isn't it? Like, a big part of it is who do you have behind you, because you can have all the talent in the world.
Important. I mean, for so long, I've believed sometimes, because a lot of the stuff, you know, I've been with couple managers and people that are not great, you know, and they haven't done the best by me. I wouldn't say all of them, but a few. And I got to a point where I was like, I can do this on my own. And I did so much things on my own. Like, I toured like the whole of Europe at one point, and I did that by myself. I just took my best friend with me, and we made sure that we got to all the clubs on time, all of the halls that I was performing in on time. You know, we did the rehearsals, everything literally. Like, I was literally at the venue. I mean, because in Germany, you can give your invoice there and then. So I would literally be backstage writing up my invoices right before I go on to perform and stuff like that. So I put a lot of work in. And I've literally done so much on my own, like without a team, gone over to like places like Russia, which is quite daunting, you know, like different places around the world. And, you know, sometimes you sit there and you're on your own and you're like, wow, like I wish I had a team here, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now, finally having a proper team, I understand the importance of it, you know, and I understand the importance of getting somebody else's perspective on, you know, from looking from the outside in, basically. And there's not a lot of people in regards to my talent that I trust to listen to, if that's when they're giving me advice. But I definitely trust my manager, I would have to say. So, I mean, he does have like a lot of input in towards like the creative side of the visuals. You know, he's basically creative director as well. On that. Obviously, I have a few ideas that I throw in there, but I trust him with it, you know. And yeah, it's really fun and it's really great. I'm not saying that I listen to all of his ideas. Some of his ideas are a bit like far out sometimes. But, yeah, like, from the last few videos, or for example, Stop Acting. When we filmed that, he took me to this really like this big square. It's the with the violin and that, the violin, the big square. And we got there, and I said, so where am I filming? And he said, there. And I was like, where? And he goes, there. And the square was full of people. And I suffer from anxiety sometimes, and my anxiety literally went through the roof because it was packed inside there. Like, literally, there was people everywhere. Wow. And I had to go in the middle of the square and start performing. But I did it. And, I mean, when you watch the video, you can see that the video is great, you know? Yeah.
And
so
it looks like there's nobody there as well. Like, it's just you and the violinist. You don't even see.
There as well. He was kind of clearing people. My team member Zayn, he was kind of like clearing people out, kind of thing, like, yo, we're trying to shoot, kind of thing. But I mean, from behind the camera, it was packed.
Wow.
There were people just like that. Watching me, because obviously this girl with her hair in pigtails, colourful hair, has just come into the middle of, you know, the square with a guy with a balaclava on and a violin. You know? Everybody was staring at us. There was a lot of kids playing there. All the kids have stopped on their scooters. They were all just eyeballing me. And yeah, I think sometimes those things, although they're daunting and they're scary, I think those are the moments that keep you alive, like feeling alive kind of thing.
Yeah.
Pushing your boundaries and kind of like taking risks.
Exactly. Those places where you feel uncomfortable, it just helps you grow. So
be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
It's essential as an artist. Like if you want to grow, I mean, it's essential in any field, to be quite honest. If you want to be the best that you can be, you have to come out of your comfort zone and you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
That's a really good quote, by the way. Comfortable with being uncomfortable. Really good quote. Let's get back. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I said I can't remember where I heard it, but yeah.
Okay. Well, I love it. Let's get back to sex. You were talking about how it's basically a big FU to everyone out there who's judgmental. It's very raunchy and, you know, bold and ballsy. So I have to ask you, what's the most bold and ballsy move you have ever made when you've been interested in a guy, like to get his attention? Have you done anything? How bold and ballsy do you actually get?
I must admit, I am quite a flop in that department.
Really?
I don't think people would expect me to be like that.
Yeah.
But that is one area that I have to admit where I can be quite shy. Like I've never been one to just go in the DMs. But
you haven't slid in the DMs?
No, but I'm saying it hasn't crossed my mind. I did this at the beginning of 2021. I did think to myself, do you know what, I've had enough of this. Like, if I like someone, I'm just going for it kind of thing. But, I mean, yeah, I've been quite... I have quite an old-fashioned, like, outlook on that. It's kind of like... And I think it's kind of playing it safe as well, kind of thing. Kind of... I mean, you can't get rejected if you don't try, can you? So... Yeah,
but you can't get accepted if you don't try either.
Say that again?
You can't get accepted if you don't try either.
Let them pick me, kind of thing. I don't like the one that's picking me. It's kind of like, just give it a miss and just keep riding the wave until the right one picks me, kind of thing. I have to admit, like, I have probably like thrown eyes and like smiled and done stuff like that and been a bit more like quite like a flirty and assertive around the guy, but I haven't directly. I will indirectly make you know that I like you, if that makes sense. But I haven't been like, oh, I like you kind of thing. But if I'm honest, this is probably... I used to feel like, like, I don't want to be alone, you know, I want another half, I want someone to experience these things with me, come and tour with me, be in my life. And I used to always feel like, you know, like I want that other person. But I'm having such a ball right now, like with my career, it's almost like I'm just not looking for it. I'm probably going to find it when I'm not looking for it.
Yeah.
It's not something that I'm thinking about right now. I'm so focused on my career. I just doesn't really cross my mind like that to think about like relationships or...
Yeah, you're totally focused. Yeah. How do you feel about sort of the dating apps? Have you done any of that stuff for you? No.
I'm not going to lie. Like I've seen people around me do it.
Yeah.
And tempted. I mean, but there was one, my friend was on a dating app and there was one girl on a dating app and she was like, Nolay, no, not the rapper. She has like in brackets. So she's called Nolay, but in brackets, not the rapper kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just feel like being on dating sites, for me, I feel like I'd be more likely probably to do it if I wasn't a known face, if that makes... I feel like now, like, can you imagine, like, me being on a dating site and, like, guys going through it and then stumbling across me? You just never... It's like now I don't know whether people genuinely like me because they like me.
Yeah.
Or because, you know, I'm a face or I'm a rapper or, you know, it's like a sport. Because, you know, for some guys, it's a sport for, like, catching and getting certain girls and
stuff. Like a high-profile woman.
It's kind of like now you don't really know who you can trust. So I wouldn't want to put myself in a position where I escalate that. Do you know what I'm saying? And I feel like being on I feel like being on a dating site would just
yeah.
I'd have so much stupid people messaging me.
Gotcha. But you're willing to accept DMs if people are sliding in the DMs.
I read a couple DMs.
Okay.
I mean, it's not something I get a lot. It's not something that I don't really like to talk on DM as well. I mean, if I do decide to open a DM and like converse with someone, it's kind of a thing what I prefer. Like, okay, let's kind of talk on the phone or something. I'm really funny. I feel like you're seeing all these people, like their stuff is getting screenshot, and next thing you know, and it's just you just gotta play it safe. You just don't know, you know.
So they can record that phone call, which is even worse because now it's your actual voice.
Maybe, but I feel like it can't really be taken out of context.
Yeah, true.
I feel like with text, things can be really like misconstrued and taken out of context. So, yeah.
True. Yeah, it's a really interesting time.
If I'm on...
Do you have a first date sort of deal breaker or deal maker? Like, is there something a guy can do where you're like, okay, I can't get out of here fast enough?
I would say if they ask me to rap. Ask me to rap is literally, I just don't want to. I don't mind them talking to me.
Yeah.
But I mean, I went on a date with one guy once, and you know, he kept asking me to rap, and it was just so uncomfortable. It's like, I'm here as like, I'm not really here as Nolay right now. I'm here as Natalie. Like,
yeah,
you keep asking me to rap, and kind of, it was just, for me, that is a deal breaker. Like, it's so uncomfortable. I mean, I love rapping, you know, that's what I do.
Yeah.
But I don't do it every bloody second of the day. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's like, imagine actually getting with that person and end up getting married to them. Like, get up in the morning and rap for me, you know, before you go to bed.
Rap me to sleep tonight.
Spit me 16, babe, if you love me. Like, yeah,
that would be annoying. And then it's almost like they're more of a fan almost than, you know, a husband.
That's a big red flag for me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like a red flag for me in general, even not just date wise. I mean, like, just being around people, like when I go around my friends and stuff, or I go around people in general, I like to chill sometimes because I do rap all the time. I don't want to be asked every minute to rap. I get it when I walk down the street, people saying to me, oh, spit 16 for me, they want to film it and stuff like that, which is fine. At the same time, I try to, like, I've never been a person to treat my supporters badly, you know. I love my supporters. Obviously, without them, you just can't exist. They kind of keep everything moving. If you think about it, you're making music for someone, and it's, you know, it's your supporters. But I literally don't like being asked to do it all the time. I like to do it when it's meant to be done. If that makes sense. Like, yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I totally get you there. All right, good answers. So, question number 6 we're on. So in 2016, you went through a really terrifying experience with the car accident. And I know you were abroad, you got into a car accident, you ended up being hospitalized, you were unconscious for a while, you had fractures to different parts of your body. Talk to me about that experience, and did it change your outlook on life?
Do you know what? That's probably the second car accident I've been in. I crashed before in Upper Norwood as well. We went through the Michelin tyre. I don't mean to laugh, that sounded so off. Well, basically, there's a Michelin tyre shop on the corner in West Norwood, and I was driving with one of my friends. She couldn't actually drive, but she said she had her license. And as we come over the hill, there was like these barriers, and she was moving so fast, but we didn't know that part of the road was basically blocked off. So as we've got over the hill and she's seen it, she's quickly turned the car. And as she's turned the car, the wheel locked, and we went straight into the Michelin tyre shop.
Oh my God.
It literally tore up all of my side, like my chin and everything. So I feel like with all of the things that I go through or that I've been through, because I've been through a lot of shocking life experiences, and I think that once I get to like write my autobiography and people read it, they will probably be like, oh my gosh, like car accidents are nothing compared to like what this girl has actually been through. Like, to be honest, I should be dead. I think I'm a cat. Like, I got like 9 lives basically, because I've been through so much in regards to like coming close to like it being the end of me. Wow. So I feel like it did make me look at life differently and like from a different perspective. But at the same time, I kind of had a negative frame of mind where I don't so much look at it like that now, but back then I looked at it like, it's just one of those things for me, man. Like, shit like this always happens kind of thing. And I just dealt with it and I kept it moving. And I think you have this thing that you do when you throw things to the back of your mind, depending on what it is, and you don't actually deal with it. And I think for most of my life, I've always done that, like pushed things, like bad experiences, like put them in the back of my mind and then kept it moving kind of thing. Yeah. And I think with time, you kind of learn to deal with those things. So it was I think it was more hard in regards to like how my family found out about it rather than for me.
How did they find out?
Like just from the media and stuff.
Yeah.
Like papers and stuff like that. So they kind of found out like when everybody else was finding out. But outside of that, I just...
It would, yeah, you've been through worse.
It's just, yeah, I think I have been through worse, to be honest.
What would you say is the scariest situation you've been in where maybe you felt that you wouldn't make it through?
I think the scariest, in my opinion, the scariest situation that I've been through is one guy. I don't know if he had been stalking me for a long time, but I was walking home one night and a car had gone past me like really, really like slowly. And I kind of, like you're walking, I noticed the car and I clocked the car, but I just thought Saturday night, people are just out having fun. Guys, when they drive past a lady, they might slow down their car a bit and look kind of thing. But I didn't ignore it like that, but I just know that I saw that kind of black Clio driving. Then I was walking down the road and a tall guy is coming towards me and he's got like blonde hair. And he's walking towards me and he's kind of looked at me and he's kind of like nodded at me like, you're right, kind of thing. And I kind of went like that kind of thing because it's late at night. Do you know what I'm saying? I probably even shouldn't have been out walking like that at that time, but I went kind of thing and then kind of kept it moving. And I don't know what it is about instincts, but they're so great. Yeah. I felt really odd after I walked past him. So I kind of like looked back. And when I looked back, he was like doing his shoelace. But he was looking like, so he's bent over doing his shoelace and he was looking back at me kind of thing. And I don't know what it was, but I don't know what came over me, but I quickly kicked because I had heels on. I quickly kicked my heels off and I started running. And when I looked back, he was running after me. Like he was running like down the road. Where I lived, it was basically like across the road from like a cemetery.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if he had been watching me for a long time and knew that I actually lived on that road. But as I've run into the road, I didn't want to run too far in there because it's pitch black. And obviously it's my house is like across the way from the cemetery. So I ran kind of into the road, but didn't go too far in. And I stood outside the flats and I kind of pretended that I was like talking to someone and calling them down. Yeah. And he's had the road. And when he's ran in, like he's looked at me, but the look, like when you hesitate. So like you go like that, like you're... went like this, like he wants to go for me kind of thing, but and the look in his eyes and on his face, it was so evil. And then he quickly ran down the side road which comes off my road, and then I heard just the car come spinning out, and it was the same car that had gone past me earlier that night.
Oh my God.
And I think that for me was more scarier than more so like, or more like daunting than the car accidents and stuff like that, because it's kind of like you kind of think to yourself like, this is another person that kind of like harm kind of thing. Are you okay? Sorry.
That's okay.
My brother's here. But
oh, your brother's there. Hi, brother.
He said hi. Yeah, I think that was kind of like more daunting for me, because it's like, first of all, what did he want to do?
Yeah.
Has he been watching me for a long time? Am I going to see him again? Is he watching me after that? Like, that was just a really like weird and horrible experience kind of thing. But it's nuts, because I still continue to kind of like, I wouldn't say continue to like walk out at late at night, but I haven't let that stop me from my freedom.
Yeah.
And being free. So yeah, I would probably say that is probably yeah,
that's
was quite
scary. I'm just glad your instincts set in, because a lot of people might not even listen to, a lot of us don't listen to our instincts like that. But the fact that you kicked off those shoes,
I literally can't explain it. I'm going to sound like such an idiot right now, yeah, but I felt like I could hear a little voice saying to me, run. And I know that sounds dumb.
It doesn't sound dumb,
but it's good that I listened to that little inkling kind of that I was getting, because when I looked back, he was running behind me, you know, like, which is, and it kind of makes me think, what if I didn't?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Would he have walked up behind me and grabbed me? Like, and better still, like, what did he want from me?
Yeah.
You know, what was his aim? So I think, yeah, that is probably one of the most daunting moments for me in life. And I think that it can be, as a musician, particularly a female musician, or just women in general in the public eye, it is easy for you to kind of become the object of a stalker's, you know, if a stalker puts his sights on you, then kind of thing. But yeah.
And I think it's a lesson in the fact that we do need to listen to our instincts, because, you know, what's the worst that can happen? Okay, I feel stupid, but it's better to feel stupid than
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to, I would definitely say this to people in general. You know, we live in a real world, but particularly to women, you know, protect yourself at all costs. You know, like when you're walking in the night, like that's something that we shouldn't really be doing.
Yeah.
You know, when you're going to your car, like, and stuff, like, have your wits about you, because there are a lot of people out there that are not right in their head. You know, so
absolutely. Great advice. Great story. Okay, so question number 7, totally switching topics. What's most important to you out of these 4 things? Status, money, power, and love.
All right, I've got to be totally honest with this one. So
be totally honest.
When you say love, do you mean like love as in love from your family, or do you mean like love from a man? You mean like
whichever means something to you. So you can take love for however you want to take it, in whatever way.
This is gonna sound awful, yeah, and it's gonna sound shallow. Read me what is it? Love, money.
Okay, so status, money, power, love. Status, money, power, love. By the way, while you're thinking, if we get cut off, we'll jump back on. I'm not sure how long Instagram Live lets us have nowadays. Usually I think it's over an hour now, but just in case.
Not status.
Okay.
I don't feel like you can pay your bills with status, or you can even... There's a lot of people out here that have status, but that's as far as it goes for them.
They've got fluff. What is it? Fluff and what in their pockets? Air.
Fluff and air.
Yeah. I love that track. We're going to get to that next, by the way.
Your pockets.
Yeah.
But if I'm honest, I'd have to say money.
Okay.
And that's going to sound awful. Let me explain to you why. My whole life, I've always been a person that has held love as the highest thing. Like, literally, like, oh, love this, love that. Like, I want to be in love, or, you know, like, my family. I'm a very family orientated person. Like, love has meant so much to me, and I feel like I already have like the love of my family. But literally, I think it's great that people show me love and people love me, but I would have to say money. And let me tell you the reason why I say money. I feel like in this day and age, or just in general, in many ages, you just can't survive without it. Like, let's be realistic. I definitely don't believe that it can, I don't believe that money can buy you love. But I do believe that it can buy you happiness. And let me explain to you why. Because the only time that I don't feel happy is when I can't provide for the people that I love, or when I can't provide for myself, or when there's bills that need to be paid and stuff. And I just feel like with money, you're just not going to come across those problems. I feel like there are people out there that would like to turn around and say, just to make themselves sound like they're, you know, conscious, like I'm a conscious, woke, good person. So I'm going to love or whatever. Yeah. But we have to be honest. Like, money does make the world go round, and, you know, it is something that unfortunately we can't live without. We can't function without it. If you don't pay, you know, if you don't pay your electric and your gas, then you ain't going to be warm and you ain't going to have no light. You know, if you don't have money for food, you ain't going to eat. You know, if you don't have money to travel, you're not going to travel. You're not going to. So, I mean, money is really important. So, yeah, it would have to be money, if I'm honest.
Thank you for the honesty, and you make some really, really good points. I think a lot of people would go for money, but publicly, you know, privately they'd go for money. Publicly,
they want to sound like a lot of people. They want to sound like they're good people.
Yeah,
you know, good-hearted person. Yeah. So they would say love, but I know that I'm a good-hearted person. Yeah. It's about trying to prove that to people. I know who I am, so I kind of feel like. It's just about being honest. And I think that anybody that says, I mean, come on, like, you can't pay your bills or survive with anything else other than money. It's a necessity, you know. So it would have to be money.
We love the green. We love the green. All right. So moving on to question number 8. So you're in the midst, at least I think you're still in the midst, of an intense lyrical beef with rap beef with Trillary Banks. Well, we want to know what the update is, but you came out with Corn, and I think most fans out there, just in general, all agree that you demolished her with that track. But I want to know how the beef started in the first place, and then we'll talk about the actual track Corn, which is, like, I think one of your best tracks ever, by the way.
Yeah. I think that it was just a thing where I said something at the beginning of one of my tracks on one of my freestyles on Instagram, and a lot of people had been tagging her and saying that it was directed towards her. And the thing is, I kind of, like, a lot of people tag me in things and say, this is directed towards me, that's directed towards me. But until you turn around and you say my name directly, it ain't directed towards me as far as I'm concerned, you know? And then obviously she dropped this thing. I mean, if you want to call it a diss, you can call it a diss, but she did something basically talking about, like, a lot of the female rappers, the game, like sending shots. And then I posted something basically saying, it was quite bitchy, you know, what I posted, but there you go, I can be a bitch sometimes. I posted saying basically, how can you be talking so much about myself and Miss La Familia and Lady Leshurr when you beg these rappers to stay on their sofas, basically.
Oh. You hit her there.
I feel like from there, that's when it kind of escalated, and she obviously got on her kind of ting and made her diss track and that. But I must make it clear that for me, this is like a sport.
Yeah.
I am not as bothered as some people are when it comes to diss tracks and stuff. I feel like she was a lot more bothered than I was. I mean, she was talking about it for a long time afterwards, you know, on Clubhouse and Twitter and the tweets. And I kind of like, I just trying to drop my diss track.
Yeah.
And I didn't really tweet. The whole time I probably tweeted twice. Like, as in, like, in a bitchy way about her. I probably tweeted twice. Whereas with her, it was like an array of tweeting. And I just felt like, with everything that's going on right now for me, I don't feel like this is something that I have to focus on for long. I certainly didn't feel like, I mean, I get more excited when a rapper or a spitter that is good is like, and can actually, you know, give me a run for my money kind of thing. I probably would have engaged longer if I felt like the rapper was like, you know, like, if I felt wounded, you know, like, ow, kind of thing, like that wounded me. I probably would have responded after that. But I just felt like my one diss killed all three of her disses. So for me, it was kind of like, I have really no reason to respond right now. It's like, it's job well done. Let me keep it moving. I really, coming from the kind of culture that I'm from as well, musically, we're kind of used to it, particularly in grime. Like, people have been clashing for a long time and you know, going at it with each other. It's not something that affects my life like that. I feel like she was really, like, affected by it, if that makes sense. Like, really affected by it, talking about it after, dwelling on it for, like, weeks after. Like, she was still talking about it in interviews, on Clubhouse, you know, on Twitter, still talking about it. Whereas, and I just said what I needed to say on my diss, and kind of, like, after a couple of days, I just kept it moving. And
you totally went in. It was funny. I was actually watching one of those reaction videos. You know how they do the reaction videos, and they had her track and then they had your track, and the guy's facial expressions when your track came on. Did you think to yourself at any point, oh, maybe I'm being a little harsh, let me reel it in? Or you were just like, nah, I'm giving her everything? Yeah.
Light. Yeah. I think that was light. I think Corn was light. I'll be honest, it was. I mean, I went light with Corn for a reason, because there was a possibility that I was going to respond. I had to give it some thought, because I got a lot of things going on in the background, like major things that will come to light soon, that I'm working on. And I felt like, are you going to keep on going back and forth with this pettiness that's making you, like, no money, or, like, it's not, or are you just going to concentrate on this, you know, this big contract and this here, business-wise? Like, get your mind out of, you know, the joke and foolery that's going on, and get into your business mind. Because getting into your business mind is what is going to make sure that you eat for years to come, rather than concentrating on this nonsense kind of thing. Yeah. But I did go light with Corn, because I felt like, just in case I want to go in again. A lot of stuff I held back.
Wow.
Stuff that I held back and I didn't say, you know, if you think that was bad, then it's a good thing that I didn't go.
Oh my God, it was harsh. And then the video on top of that. Can I just ask you, this was the part with, like, the bloodied underwear on her head. Like, what the hell?
You do, Nicholas. You know what, yeah? That's my manager for you, you know. That's his creative director, right? Yeah. We had the knickers, and we bought some knickers from Tesco's, and we just kind of, like, held a sneaker bar in the knickers kind of thing, so that it melted and ended up looking like poop.
Oh my God. I thought it was period blood. I didn't know.
My manager found someone that resembled her in like less than 24 hours. Like,
oh my God. You killed it. Like, you really did. It's a great track. It's such a great track. Now we kind of want to hear the harsh version, though. But maybe you save that for somebody else.
maybe. I mean, I kind of like, for me, it was like, it's really not that deep.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, for me, it really wasn't that deep.
Yeah. You're
just,
busy. You got stuff going. You just have a lot of stuff going.
Aside from things going on, I kind of look at it because this is a sport for me and I love what I do. And a part of me enjoyed it, if that makes sense. Like, it was like, yeah. And you it's kind of thing, it's exciting kind of thing. Like,
yeah.
And in the booth and recording it and the whole filming process and everything. And I kind of feel like, whereas she took it more to heart, like it really got to her. Whereas in what she said, because to be honest, I didn't. I had an interview a couple of days ago, and they asked me a couple of questions about it, and I told the interviewer I didn't listen to her diss tracks all the way through. So I listened to the first couple of lines, and I was like, "Oh, I'll turn it off," that kind of thing.
Yeah. You didn't even listen to the whole thing.
People around me that told me what she had said.
Yeah.
I just didn't care enough. And I know that's going to probably sound arrogant or awful, but for me, it was more of a thing. I don't want to hear, a lot of people, like when they have their diss tracks and they go at each other, a lot of them say stuff that just isn't true.
Yeah.
And what I was saying was facts. It was facts. Like, you did get kidnapped, all of that stuff. It was facts that I was talking about, basically.
Who kidnapped her, by the way?
I don't know. Even if I did know, I just...
You can't go into all of that. Okay. I'm glad she's all right, though. Yeah.
But, yeah, it was just a thing where I heard a couple of things. It was very nursery rhyme for me. It was very nursery rhyme, like Piggy Nose and Miss Piggy. And it was kind of like, oh, God, is that all kind of thing? Like, it was very like...
Yeah. But to go against you, I mean, against somebody else, it might have been all right, but not against...
Blows for me, if that makes... They didn't hit me in my gut and make me feel like, oh, my God. And I feel like that's how you're meant to make someone feel when you're, when you're doing a diss track. Yeah. Someone told me that she had said something about my father on one of her tracks, about him being on crack or something. And for me, when I heard that, I was very much like, oh, come on, girl. Like, I told everyone in 2012 that my dad used to be an addict. Like, I said it soon. And the thing is, I'm very open about my life and like what I've been through, and I don't really hide, because I'm not ashamed, because everything that I've been through, it's made me who I am today, and I am successful than I was before. So with stuff like that, you're telling people what I've already told them. Everybody knows this. So for me, it was very much like, it was boring. It was like, everybody's got this and all you can talk about is the size of my nose, then rap has really gone down the drain.
And you have a very nice nose, by the way, I have to say.
But yeah, it just didn't. So yeah, I just did what I needed to do, and then I just kept it moving. But it was a really fun process. But if you want to question anyone about the video, you need to talk to my manager.
Okay, we'll talk to him after about that one. Yeah, you guys killed it though. Could you see yourself? Is there a world where we might one day see you guys both on the same track ever? I didn't hear that. No,
never.
Okay.
Never.
Not happening. Got it.
I've had fallouts, with other people. Like, I've had fallouts with like Lady Leshurr, and like OG Nikki, but you're more likely to hear me on a track with them in the future. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I don't like her. Do you know what I'm saying? And I just, I just wouldn't want to be around her, literally. Like, it's just, outside of music, I just don't think that she's just not a person that I could gel with, if that makes her whole aura and everything. So no, I don't think you'll ever see us work together, if I'm honest.
Got it.
I mean, I didn't want to work with her before this happened. You know what I mean? And I did have a few people like reach out, like sometimes tag her and be like, I want to see you two feature. And she was like, yeah, like I'm ready when she is, kind of thing. And but it's just never something. She used to tweet about my music as well, that she likes it and stuff. But I think that's kind of might be why she's had a problem towards me as well, because I probably never gave her the ratings that she probably felt like. Maybe she felt like because she had been a certain way with me or liked my music, that means I should have given her ratings, if that makes. And I know that might sound a bit bitchy or something, but I can't like your music just because you like mine. Do you know what I mean? And I think that might have been where some of the bitchiness might have stemmed from. But I wish her all the best. I mean, let's see what happens in 2021, innit?
Anything could happen in 2021. How are you and Lady Leshurr now? Are you guys
fine? I mean, me and her were laughing our heads off.
Really?
Yeah, because obviously she had dissed Lady Leshurr too, hadn't she? We was in the DM and Leshurr was like, I've only just heard this, kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, so she mentioned you too. And she goes, oh, I haven't even been on the internet to hear it. And we were laughing so hard. And like me and Miss La Familia as well, like we were in hysterics talking about this. God, like I thought, like every day, like we was having so much laughter. Like Miss La Familia would be like, yeah, she's on live talking about us. And I would be like, oh, really? Good luck to her. And we would just laugh, like, keep it moving. And this is what I mean about you should never let things destroy your peace to that extent. And I feel like she really let what was going on kind of like destroy her peace rather than just treat it like a sport. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I just treat it like a sport, and then kind of you've got like obviously like your career. But you need to know how to kind of step away from it and kind of separate the two sometimes.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I could ever kind of be like get into like a battle with another MC and kind of just spend my time on the internet all day afterwards talking about it. I just the time kind of like just come away from it and just do you and like live your life. So.
And it seems like it brought the rest of you even closer, you guys together. So that's a good thing that came out of it, which kind of brings me to my next question, which is where are we? Question number 9. So in America, obviously, we're seeing a lot of women killing it in hip hop right now. It used to be where there was only sort of room due to sexism for one female rapper at the time. And now we're seeing, you mentioned some of the names, Cardi, Nicki, of course, Megan Thee Stallion, Saweetie, City Girls, etc. Tell us what's going on right now. Why do you think we're at this point now in America, at least? And is this something that's also happening in the UK?
What do you mean? Why do we think that why it's finally happening?
Yeah,
I actually think that there's always been a lot of female rappers, and there's still a lot of undiscovered female rappers. And I think that the only difference is we have big social media platforms now, and we have more platforms to bring light around it and shed light around it and to kind of bring exposure around it. Whereas in 50 years ago, we didn't have all of this, you know, like your Instagram and stuff like that, to be able to give a platform for female rappers to get light shone on them. And it still is pretty much a male-dominated industry, if you think about it to a certain extent. I literally feel like the same way where we was at a point, you remember like years back where women never had rights, like they couldn't vote, they couldn't do certain things, but the time came where they were now able to vote. They were now able to go to school and get an education. And I think just like then, you always have a turning point in history where things change. And I think we're at that turning point now for female rap. So, yeah, that's what I think it is.
Great place to be. And I know you've spoken in the past about some of the sexism that you've dealt with in the industry, blatant sexism at that. Do you feel like you've gotten to a point where you're sort of too big for that to affect you at all? Or is it something you still deal with? And what advice do you have for young women coming up in the industry for the first time? Do you have any advice for them dealing with the sexism?
I would say that I still come across it, and I'm still probably subjected to it, but I choose not to deal with it now, if that makes sense. So before, when it would kind of bother me, it doesn't bother me now, because it's kind of like, well, you can't stop me, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't do, like, I'm here and I'm gonna make my
and better than you are.
I'm better than you, or I'm just as good as you, if not better. I'm gonna make my felt regardless. So you can sit there and feel sore about it and sulk, or, you know, be a misogynist or have a certain view of me. But really and truly, is that really gonna stop me from going where I need to go and doing what I need to do? I think not, because it hasn't stopped me up until now, has it? And I've seen a lot of it, you know, like along the way. It kind of gears you up and makes you try harder as well. I would say to female rappers, always see yourself as a rapper first and foremost. You know, I know that I'm female, obviously, but I've never gone into a situation feeling more inferior, like a situation with male rappers, like, oh, I'm a female rapper surrounded by male rappers. I've always walked in there like, I'm a rapper, kind of thing. And I think that that's important, because I think sometimes women can kind of make a barrier for themselves, if that makes sense, by kind of being like a lot like, oh, I'm a female rapper, female empowerment, female this, female that. Like, we know that we're females. Do you see what I'm saying? You have to live within your truth and know that you're good as a rapper. And that's another thing. I absolutely hate when people say to me, you know, you're one of the best female rappers. It should just be like, one of the best rappers. Or you're good for a female. You know, the brain really doesn't our brains really don't function any differently. Do you know what I mean? Kind of like, I just believe in like living in your truth and knowing that, you know, I feel like if you're a female that wants to make it in this industry, you have to be really cutthroat, and you also have to, don't try to be like the males, if that makes sense. That's another thing that I've learned. There's a lot of power in being a woman. There's a lot of power in being a woman. Like, you know, like we've reigned over kingdoms. Like, we've done so much. Like, there's been so much female leaders, you know, since the beginning of time. I think that once you start thinking and feeling like you're inferior to the males because you're a female, that can make problems arise as well. So I always walk into situations like, I'm just sick at what I do, basically. And that's it, like, male or female.
Great advice. That actually brings me to question number 10, because you do have this confidence that's just so obvious every time we see you and hear you. And you talked earlier about it and how there are still moments where you kind of second guess yourself or really think about things before you make a move. But I think one of the things that gets in the way of people's success a lot of the time is either not believing in themselves or thinking too much about what others think of them. So tell us what advice you have for everyone, for all of us watching right now, in terms of how to get to that point where you're that confident in yourself and you don't care what anyone else thinks and you can go for everything you've ever dreamed of.
I think that as human beings, no matter what anybody says, you will always have moments where you question what people think of you. It's just a human trait, you know, no matter, even if you get people that say, I don't care what anybody thinks of me, like, we all have those moments where we wonder or worry, you know, like how we're going to be perceived. I think that being in the industry as long as I have and being in the public eye, you really build thick skin along the way. So, you know, you get trolled, or you get like people judging you all the time. People have like expectations of you, or, you know, just in general. And I think as time has gone by, it's happened so much, and I've endured it so much over the years, that now when it happens, it's literally like, it just doesn't affect me no more. So I think it's down to like learning along the way, you know, and becoming so thick-skinned within yourself that, you know, you become immune to the nonsense kind of thing. And you really get to a point where you start to really not care about things. Like, I remember before, like, people would troll me or say things, and it would usually hurt my feelings. But now I see something, and it's so funny. It's like, whereas in before, someone would say something really wicked or cruel to me, and it would upset me. You know, it would get to me. It would hurt my feelings, like years back. And then now, when it happens, it's kind of like, you kind of just, it's like water off a duck's back now.
Yeah.
It's kind
maybe
of like,
even enjoy it a little bit, because now you can laugh at it.
Sometimes I have a little laugh.
Yeah.
And it's very rare, but sometimes I might just message the person. Sometimes I might just message the person back and just make like a little joke and then block them or something, so that I have the last word or something.
Yeah.
But more time, I just don't even respond. And it's like, and I think I have really got to the point where I don't really care what people think of me. I think 90% I don't care what people think of me. Do you know what I mean? I care what my loved ones think and what they feel. But outside of, in general, yeah, I really couldn't give a shit what they think of me, because it's not conducive to like, to my growth, or it really doesn't do anything for me. And once you get to the point where you don't care what people think, you just have a dangerous amount of freedom to be an artist, and you become a better artist as well. Like, you become greater within your craft and within your field and within your subject matter as well. Because think about it, if I took on board what people thought of me, I wouldn't have released tracks like Netflix and Pills. I wouldn't have released tracks about domestic violence. I wouldn't, you know, have spoken about my father so candidly. You know, there's just so much things that I just wouldn't have touched on, because I would have been frightened of what people think.
Yeah.
When you stop caring what people think, you become the most amazing artist. And that's, you know, what I desire to be. That's more important for me, to be a great artist, and for people to feel about me the way I feel when I listen to certain rappers. You know, I get a certain feeling from certain artists when I listen to them, because they're quite candid and they're quite open. I want people to be able to relate to me like that, and feel me like that. You know, I want to help people with certain of my songs. You can't do that if you care what people think of you. You know, there's so many restrictions when you care what people think of you. So yeah, you know, like, part of you just has to be like, sod it, and just do what you're doing.
Just fearless in 2021.
I have fear. I think everyone has fear, because it's a human thing. But I am literally at the point, you see, because it doesn't matter what you do in life. I mean, if you walk on water, they'll say to you it's because you can't swim, you know? So it doesn't matter what you do in this life, people are always going to have something negative to say about you. You could be the most perfect person, getting everything right, doing everything right, you know, never step one foot wrong in your life and doing everything the way it should be. And there will still be one person, because they're mad at their own life and at themselves, you know, and they're just so sad within, that they will find something to say. Yeah. So you can't let that stuff get to you, you know, because it's inevitable, especially in my field, for people to chat nonsense.
Yeah. Great answer. Nolay, you've completed the 10 and 10 challenge. Congratulations. You made it through. It's been so interesting getting to know you so much better. Tell us what you've got coming up. I know there's some stuff going on that you can't really talk about. But what can we look out for? What can you talk about right now? And of course, we'll follow you on social media as well. So we'll be watching you closely there.
say keep your eyes peeled for more visuals off of Calas. I've got some merch coming soon that we're working on. I've been delving more into the acting side of things, so we've got some exciting stuff coming in regards to that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've got loads of new music that I'm working on. That's coming very soon. I'm trying to say things without, because obviously I'll talk off camera as well. So there's some things I just can't.
Yeah, there's certain things, but wow is all I can say. Wow.
Hopefully, if they lift these COVID restrictions, there'll be a tour soon. So yeah. Exciting.
Amazing. So exciting. I want to give a couple of quick shout outs, by the way. Fiona, I know Steve Hammond's in here as well. Jill, thank you for watching. Mark as well. Mr. Grill. You might know Mr. Grill from Firing Squad. Do you know Mr. Grill?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, you guys have probably met before. But yeah, so we're going to be looking out for all of that. And I know, some of it is particularly huge. So really exciting time for you.
There's like the one huge baby. That's my baby. And I just can't say anything. And it's killing me because I want to. But just say Nolay's Army, you're going to be really, really gassed.
Yeah. People are going to be so excited. Nolay, you are amazing. I'm glad that you didn't just give up on music, and you came back, and you and your manager are going at it, because you're killing it right now. And I'm just excited to see, all the incredible stuff that's going to be coming out. More incredible stuff, because it's already incredible. But thank you so much for being here on Let's Go Live. It's great to see you after all this time.
After 10 years.
I know, after 10 years.
I'll be sure that when, we tour again, that you're you're backstage.
Oh, yeah. No, I would absolutely love that. And then, of course, when you can announce some of the stuff that you've got going on, we'll get you back on as well to chat about it.
100%. You'll be the first person that I tell.
Awesome. Thank you, Nolay. And you guys, thank you all for watching as well. We love you.
I love you.
Go pump that Calas, right? Calas? Calas.
Yeah.
Go pump Calas right now.
I'll have another Corona.
Yeah, I'm just drinking plain old water. Where's my wine?
Where's some wine, girl? You deserve it.
I know, I do. I think I do. All right, enjoy your Corona, and we will talk soon. We'll talk offline. Good luck with everything, and bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Everyone.